All right, welcome in-game live Primetime here on this Thursday now, January the 25th, and much going on across the sports betting landscape here tonight, especially on the hardwood, both NBA as well as college hoops, little NHL action, of course, plenty of NFL headlines, NFL talk as we get ready for the conference championships coming up this week. And I'm Joe Raineri, be joined by one Dave Sharapan, as well as the lovely Taylor Mathis in the house, ready to roll here on this evening, this Thursday. Can you believe we're already 25 days through January of 2024, Taylor? Like in a couple of more weeks, football's over. And I can't wrap my head around that. Like, where the hell is all the time gone here, Taylor?
I do know that when football's coming to a close, that means that pitchers and catchers are going to soon be reporting for spring training. So I can't complain. I love when that time rolls around. Plus, we've had a great NFL season. We've still got a couple more great games before things end. But then we head into baseball, my favorite.
Yeah, there is nothing like a little baseball to get the blood pumping here, because you're right. I'm in spring training heaven here, so they will be. I've already started to see the T-shirts and the fans rolling in, so it won't be long now before the MLB is back on track here. Much going on. We got a whole lot of games going on in the NBA that we're going to get to here tonight, including the game of the night, which appears to be the Celtics running over the Heat. I don't know why anybody thought that would be the TNT game of the night, but we'll get to that. In the meantime, we did get a whole lot of information here. I mean, these jobs in the NFL for head coaches, they're not lasting long. There's not a whole heck of a lot of them left here, Taylor. And apparently Belichick, still a free agent. Mike Vrabel, still a free agent. The latest, of course, was Raheem Morris, the former Rams defensive coordinator, now about to be announced as the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. I guess that shouldn't be so much of a shock, considering, while he was the interim coach, he was with Atlanta when Dan Quinn got fired. He took over and then eventually went on to Tampa Bay to be the head coach there before being let go. So it's there's only Washington and Seattle left, I believe, Taylor. Only two positions left here. Does Belichick sit on the sidelines this year?
The Atlanta hire has me scratching my head just a tiny bit. At 4-7 as an interim head coach for the Falcons in the past, and he is coming off of being the Rams defensive coordinator. Yes, he did help them win a Super Bowl in 2021. This last season, though, the Rams ranked 20th defensively in yards allowed per game. I'm just a little confused with the hire in Atlanta. I'm curious to see what Falcons fans actually think of the hire. I did see it, and I was like, is he still taking the meeting with Seattle that he's supposed to have on Friday? Or is he officially in as the Falcons head coach now?
Yeah, it appears like it's all done. I mean, at least that's right. The reports are coming out left and right that it's pretty much a done deal, which is so ironic since we heard nothing but it being Belichick's job from the get-go. You remember how we heard that? I mean, as soon as Belichick stepped down, it was, he's going to Atlanta. It's pretty much a done deal. Well, they interviewed like 30 people and eventually landed on somebody. But again, familiar with the franchise. He was there for a while. So a lot of the guys love him. We also learned that maybe one of the single toughest guys to work for, and there's a few of them in the NFL, but this guy, David Tepper there of Carolina, ends up landing the young David Canales there, the quarterback whisperer is what they're calling him. I mean, I guess you can call him that when he makes Baker Mayfield look somewhat serviceable, but I kind of like that hire, because you better bring in somebody for the long. You can't keep firing dudes every 18 months and think it's going to work. So I do like the hire.
I like that hire too. I think it's interesting. Like you said, Carolina is just like a carousel of new coaches, new quarterbacks, and they waste no time there with trying to bring in new talent to switch things up for the Panthers. I like the hire. young guy, like you just said, quarterback whisperer. Hopefully he could do something. He's worked with Joe Burrow, turned around Baker Mayfield. I mean, he could possibly be the guy to help things get going for Bryce Young as well.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's he did great things there, and he's also been, he's 42 years old, but 13 years there. He worked with Russell Wilson forever. He's a Pete Carroll disciple, so he's been around the block here, even though it's his first head coaching gig. But that's, kudos to them. But I do like so far, I like the Callahan job. Obviously, football's in the blood there from his old man there, Bill Callahan, with the Raiders forever. And then, of course, anybody that works with Joe Burrow, Peyton Manning, Matthew Stafford, probably not a bad hire there if you're the Tennessee Titans with a young quarterback there. And that's exactly what they have. Whether or not, is going to be the future of Tennessee, well, at least you got the guy as the head coach that you're going to want. But I think everyone is dying to see what kind of party Justin Herbert is throwing right now out in Cali. How happy must he be, Taylor, to be a part of, to have Harbaugh, a coach that he doesn't have to worry about melting down in the fourth quarter. At least we don't think anyway, but he's got to be excited there. I mean, the Charger fans got to be excited.
If you're Justin Herbert, the Charger fans, of course you're going to be excited to get a Harbaugh who just won a national championship in college, and he was only one win away in the past from winning a Super Bowl with the 49ers. You have a proven winner. You have somebody who's willing to work with the team and create a splashy offense there for the Chargers. And the Chargers have a roster that's been expected to do well every year at a very high caliber level. I think that the hire of Harbaugh makes the AFC West interesting again.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, he started out University of San Diego, right? Worked his way up to Stanford, goes to the 49ers, goes back to his alma mater, now comes back to California there, Southern Cal. I'm with you. I think maybe the idea of just handing the division to Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, you may want to, enjoy your time here, what's left of it anyway, Kansas City, because there may very well be a new sheriff in town. And I got to tell you, I don't know whether Antonio Pierce is the answer for the Raiders, but at least they didn't try to go out and grab the splashy high. They did that last time they screwed it up. So I'm certainly rooting for them here, but I do think the AFC West there, Taylor, they're going to be a new sheriff in town, I think sooner rather than later. So I'm excited there. And we also have odds, actually, that we'll talk about coming up here, because the question is, will Kansas City have an opportunity to get back and defend it all? We'll talk about it next year. InGame Live Primetime on the Grid.
Games of the year, Warren, on Sunday night, as the Chiefs are now headed back to a sixth championship game. An extremely fun, clean game, and then the hijinks ensue.
And I thought it was just irresponsible for him to take that deep shot into the end zone. I talked a lot about it on X. I thought that they should have hit that underneath route to Diggs. He was wide open. It would have been easily a first down.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Kyle Shanahan said after the game it was the same shoulder that made Deebo Samuel miss 2 games throughout this regular season in 2023.
Last time it was a scapular fracture. He missed a couple weeks. By video, we don't see that. It was the play that he got hit and had a head check. It's more believed to be a muscle injury. X-rays are proven to be negative. They're saying 50-50 right now.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
This will not end well in Milwaukee. They will flame out, there will be problems, and we will see what happens of who's the next domino to go. Does Giannis just sign an extension, ask out after a year? Do they move on from Dame? Or do they start blowing up some of the other guys, Brook Lopez, Bobby Portis, so on and so forth? It'll be worth watching.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network.
We'll look at the Heisman Trophy
The Early
race
Line.
and what it all means. Individual success.
You should have tried to get something for Anthony Rendon. Not for at the deadline.
Newswire.
We're getting a lot of news, trades, cuts, and some movement in terms of starting quarterbacks,
Pharrell
backup quarterbacks.
coast to coast.
I want to watch great players make buckets and win games.
Game time decisions.
I have no idea what the heck the Blazers are doing and what they
In-game live.
Just
Prime
took 'em
time.
yard for a grand slam.
the bottom of the fourth inning in a 12-2 baseball game. We got football scores going on at Wrigley right now.
Sports Rage
That was
Late
good betting.
Night.
We waited for 1.5. We got paid.
We did.
Did like the 2.5. Jumped on. There's no taking weeks off in golf betting ever. These are the best weeks to bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in-game live. We are Primetime here on the Sports Grid Network. Joe Raineri alongside Taylor Mathis. We welcome in the one and only Dave Sharapan here on this Thursday night as we have a lot of NBA action going on right now. We've got some games on the ice. We got a whole bunch of college hoops here late night. Love the Thursday night late slate. Out west there in Dave's neck of the woods. But, Dave, we were just talking about, and I love the story that we were just talking, Taylor and I, about the coaching hires and Raheem Morris being the next domino here with Atlanta. And sure enough, 5 minutes after it gets announced, we see another story coming out about why Belichick didn't get the job. And it appears that they couldn't get over the whole Rich McKay running the Falcons for Arthur Blank. There was a little friction there between Rich McKay and Belichick over the years. And Belichick's not going to take a job if he's got to play. He's going to answer to anybody. So we know that. Maybe the least shocking reason as to why he doesn't have a job there with Atlanta. But are you crazy about the hires? Is it any of these hires here moving the needle for you?
No, this is an interesting time of year, where we got 3 games left, 2 of them on Sunday, and then the Super Bowl in 2 weeks here in Vegas. And everybody's talking about coaching hires and, where this guy's going and does that move the number? Nothing that happened moved the number. I mean, even Harbaugh going to the Chargers, it's not like you get a deluge of money like, oh, the Chargers are going to win their division. Oh, the Chargers are going to make the playoffs, despite the fact that both things could happen because they got the fourth place schedule. I didn't realize they were as bad as they were. Their win total was lower than everyone else in the division. So they do have a good schedule. They do have a quarterback, all the things that Harbaugh wanted to come back to the NFL. And he gets out of Dodge. Who knows what went on at Michigan? Who knows what's going to come out, what went on at Michigan. So it's a perfect timing for him. I'm surprised that Belichick's not going to be a coach next year. I mean, that's the favorite. I would be very hard-pressed to see him go to Washington. And it's a big move to go to Seattle. Not that that's a bad move. I just think it's a lot to ask. Now, that could be the furthest place away from New England, which might be the right destination. Okay? That's fine. Right. But I'm surprised because, the guy can still coach. Do you guys, either of you, think that he would take a defensive coordinator job? Like just
there's
no chance, right? Zero chance of that happening. Okay. All right.
Vrabel might. Although I do think he would be perfect for either Washington or Seattle if they got. I will find it hard to believe that Vrabel and Belichick are unemployed by the time the season starts next year. That would shock me, Taylor, because I do think Vrabel may be inclined to go to the DC situation. I just don't think Belichick would. But I think Belichick should just hold out and wait for the Cowboy job, because you and I both know McCarthy probably not going to last. Taylor knows it. Tell the truth, Taylor, right? I mean, good chance.
I thought he wasn't lasting this upcoming season. You already thought he was going to be gone. I got to endure one more year.
Yeah.
I'll be going to the
wouldn't
Super
give
Bowl
him
next
3
year.
more months.
Yeah, they're gonna,
yeah. Oh,
please.
yeah. Absolutely. Every year. It's amazing how much off-season they win that trophy in the off-season each and every year, the Cowboys, and somehow they're not in the playoffs right now. But we do have 4 teams left.
And Sirianni came back, or did Belichick and Vrabel don't have a job?
Oh, now that's an
by,
interesting one.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know. Right?
Very surprised. I'm not surprised by Sirianni staying in Philly. I'm surprised with McCarthy staying in Dallas, and I'm surprised by Belichick not having a head coaching position yet. I'm not as surprised by Vrabel or Sirianni. So I'm half and half.
I don't know that Sirianni makes it, but you want to talk about a fan base that, geez, Dave, this guy was they were naming children's hospitals after Sirianni the year prior, and now it's like they can't wait to screw him. He's the worst. Get him wow. Good luck with that, Nick.
I was just back in Philadelphia, and I forgot one. I forgot 2 things. One, how cold it is when it's single digits anywhere. Okay, we landed. I got off the plane, went outside to get the rental car. And it was 9 degrees. Breath got taken away. I was like, okay, enough of this. And then second of all, we went shopping a little bit for my daughter to drop off at school. And we're walking through all these places, and all the Philadelphia Eagles stuff was like 50% off, 75% off. Oh. And I thought, oh, wow, this might be a real score if I was in the market to get this stuff. But nobody was talking about it. I was there 4 or 5 days in Philly and New Jersey, back and forth, and they weren't talking about the Eagles at all. They've moved on to the Sixers. They move on to the Flyers, because I think they all thought that Sirianni was going to be shown the door. Instead, they kept him and blew out the coordinators. I can't believe that sometimes these are the decisions made. But, it's basketball season now in Philadelphia. The Sixers are there. We'll talk about all that coming up. But, you got to get to this soundbite here. We got to get – Joe, what do you got here?
Well, I mean, you said we got 4 teams left. So if we got 4 teams left, that means only 2 are going to advance, 1 from the AFC and 1 from the NFC. But if you had to guess right now, because I do love the prediction market there, Dave. We've talked about this in the past, Taylor, where if you were going to say right now the 4 teams left, which 2 to you? And it can't be the 2 favorites. So mix and match it for me. Which are the 2 teams that are going to be left when it's all said and done here, Taylor?
I'm going to go with the Chiefs and the 49ers. So I'll take the Chiefs as in the underdog spot, and I'll take the favorite with the 49ers in the NFC.
Oh, man. I believe we've got that coming in at plus 240, Dave. Is that something there? Yeah, look at that. Chiefs versus Niners here. Is there any way the Lions advance here, Dave, in your mind?
I would love to see it. I think that would be so much fun for content. So I'll be here. The whole state of Michigan will come here. They will come with Honolulu blue all over, partying, drinking. The first time Super Bowl teams have so much more to add to the party. We just saw the Niners and the Chiefs play. It's way too much red. First of all, that uniform matchup is going to be hard on the eyes.
That's a good point.
There's way too much red involved in that. I'd love to see the Lions get there. I would love to. But you've heard about this logo conspiracy thing, right? Like the
Yes.
logo's purple. It's all over the place. How are the
It's the
Ravens not
Ravens.
getting here? Like the Ravens are going to win, right? That's the one I think everybody's counting on. That's the number one choice.
much
Ravens
purple.
Niners is chalk. Joe, it's easy, isn't it?
Well, I mean, Chiefs Lions is almost 10-1. As if there's gonna, any. See, here's the thing about this time of year, right? It's not a best 4 out of 7. So it doesn't mean the best team is automatically going to win. Yes, the Ravens and the 49ers may have the best teams, but it's a 1-game sample. It is literally any given Sunday, which means we could very well get Patrick Mahomes going up against I can't even say it without throwing up in my mouth a little bit, but Jared Goff and Patrick Mahomes could very well, at a 10-1 price, be battling for a Super Bowl championship. It's kind of unfathomable, but quite honestly,
who's favored?
Well, that's what I mean. Everybody is talking as if the Ravens are already a far gone conclusion, and yet the price in the 49er game is now a touchdown or more. So something's got to give here. Something seems wrong with this. We'll talk more about that Ravens ability when we come back and hear from Warren Sharp next year on The Grid.
Games of the year, Warren, on Sunday night, as the Chiefs are now headed back to a 6th championship game. An extremely fun, clean game, and then the hijinks ensue.
And I thought it was just irresponsible for him to take that deep shot into the end zone. I talked a lot about it on X. I thought that they should have hit that underneath route to Diggs. He was wide open. It would have been easily a first down.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Kyle Shanahan said after the game it was the same shoulder that made Deebo Samuel miss 2 games throughout this regular season in 2023.
Last time it was a scapular fracture. He missed a couple weeks. By video, we don't see that. It was the play that he got hit and had a head check. It's more believed to be a muscle injury. X-rays are proven to be negative. They're saying 50-50 right now.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
This will not end well in Milwaukee. They will flame out, there will be problems, and we will see what happens of who's the next domino to go. Does Giannis, who just signed an extension, ask out after a year? Do they move on from Dame? Or do they start blowing up some of the other guys, Brook Lopez, Bobby Portis, so on and so forth? It'll be worth watching.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network.
We'll look at the Heisman Trophy
The early line.
and what it all means. Individual success.
You should have tried to get something for Anthony Rendon. Not bought at the deadline.
Newswire.
We're getting a lot of news, trades, cuts, and some movement in terms of starting quarterback,
Pharrell
backup quarterback.
coast to coast.
I want to watch great players make buckets and win games.
Game time
I
decisions.
have no idea what the heck the Blazers are doing and what they
In-game live.
Just
Prime
took 'em
time.
yard for a grand slam.
The bottom of the 4th inning in a 12-2 baseball game. We got football scores going on at Wrigley right now.
Sports Rage
That was
Late
good betting.
Night.
We waited for 1.5. We got paid
We
information. Didn't like the 2.5. Jumped on
There's
it.
no taking weeks off in golf betting, ever. These are the best weeks to bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in-game live. We are Primetime here on the SportsGrid network, and getting ready here. They're down to 4, and it's interesting. The AFC Championship game coming up between old reliable, the Kansas City Chiefs, taking on the Baltimore Ravens. A lot of people are very confident that the Ravens are the team that will advance to represent the AFC. Well, Warren Sharp joined Scotty Farrell on Coast to Coast today. Here's what he thinks about this Ravens team heading into this weekend.
Well, it certainly is a scary proposition. Let's start with the Baltimore Ravens and how they looked last week. It obviously didn't start really well, but when I went back and analyzed teams that were in their same predicament, just like the San Francisco 49ers, since we moved to only one team getting the bye, a lot of those teams as well, they get to rest some of their players week 18. So they really have 2 weeks off, and they're not really sure what to do with these guys during that span. And they tend to come out starting a little bit slow. And sure enough, they end up going 3 points below their team total in their first playoff game, which is the divisional round. But if they win and go to the conference championship round, they end up scoring 3 points above their team total in this next round. So that's a 6-point swing based on team total and expectations of them from 1 week to the next. They get lubed up and in a groove. And if you think about it, like the Ravens, they played the Texans. Not only did the Texans win their wild card game, but they also won a de facto playoff game the week before that against the Indianapolis Colts. And that was a team that had to win these games at the end of the season just to make the playoffs. Then they get a wild card game. So they came in really lubed up to that game. Baltimore's a little rusty, got it worked out by the second half, got things back on track.
Yeah, well, listen, I'm not a big fan of the taking a week off and being 2.5, 3 weeks with any competition there and then plop them back in the next round and be like, hey, go ahead and go out there and drop 28 in the first half. Didn't exactly work out that well for either of those two in the first half. Almost cost the 49ers. Did not cost the Ravens because they figured out who they were in the second half and are ready to go. 3.5. I mean, you're rooting for the Chiefs here, Taylor. It feels like you might as well grab the 3.5 while you can. I don't know, and Dave, you can speak to this of whether or not you think it's going to get back to 3. But as long as there's a 3.5 out there, you go grab it because this could very well come down to 2 of the best field goal kickers in the NFL.
Oh,
I took the 3.5. Yeah. I took the 3.5 points with the Chiefs, and I'm all over it. This is their 6th consecutive conference championship appearance right here they've got in the AFC. They're 7-3 against the spread, road games this year. And Mahomes and the rest of the Chiefs, some guys on the team, not the rookies, obviously, but they have the playoff experience. They struggled a little bit to stop the run against the Bills in that first half, but then the defense really figured things out. As long as they can do that this week against the Ravens, especially with rainy conditions, I feel like we could see this game end up going in the Chiefs' favor. Although I would prefer from a fan standpoint to see the Ravens, but I wouldn't be surprised if we get the Chiefs.
Does it get to 3, Dave?
Oh, I don't think so. I think the 3s are done.
I don't think it's gone,
go
right?
back through. Yeah, that's it. I see more 4s than 3.5s. Just got to kind of find the money for the dog with the bad guys or the rhombuses or the parallelograms. Till then, just going to sit here. And the books, I mean, the money line parlay favorite is very popular. There's going to be, you can take them both and just ride it. Get the first game in, you get the Ravens in, then you can go for the middle. There's all kind of methods that people will use to set themselves up for the second game. That's the fun part about like this day on Sunday. You get a noon start out west, so you get all this time to build up to the first game, and they're using the first game to set up the second game. I don't know. I think you're going to get teasers, Joe. You're going to get money line parlays. You're going to just get all these things put together. Then those future prices. Forget about the props. The Lamar overs, the Mahomes rushing yards over, all that key to like the Purdy touchdown passes, the Goff interception. We're going to have that. there's a great storyline and great betting opportunities for all four teams.
I almost feel if you like the favorites, don't just lay it, because I don't think the spread's coming into play if this is chalk. I really don't. I think if you like the 49ers, they're probably winning by more than a touchdown, guys. There's just the reality of it. I do think that if you like the dogs, then, does it get the 7.5, Dave? Does it move off this touchdown? Do we get more than that? Is that, are we blocking as many teasers as humanly possible as we get closer to Sunday?
No, that line has a better chance of getting off of the 7. Yeah, that one. There's going to be books that are going to hit that, not the panic button. It's just that's what you do when you manage the risk. Let's go to 7.5. See who buys it, especially if the Chiefs get blown out or the Chiefs win the game
that's
outright.
a good point.
That's as the first game, say it's 31-10 Ravens in the third and fourth quarter. Somebody's going to 7.5. Somebody's going
big time.
All right, because they're going to come on. They're going to come on San Francisco. So we got to go get the dog money. If the Chiefs are winning, watch the liability. Somebody's going to go, look, this could be dog. We're going to bet the Lions or one or the other, or Taylor's prediction is going to come true. Chiefs win first game, Niners win second game. We got all this red and a rematch of the Super Bowl with Mahomes and Jimmy G, except it's Mahomes and Brock Purdy. You guys remember that game, right?
Yeah. It was here. It was in Miami, and it was and the 49er fans are still sick about how they absolutely choked it away and gave it to Mahomes and Andy Reid, though. But I do believe, though, if the favorites are going to win, they're going to win by margin. It's not going to be a problem. But, Taylor, if Kansas City is to win this game outright, are we looking at an over in this game? Or does a lower scoring game, do you think, favor Kansas City here, where they need to keep Lamar in check, and maybe this thing becomes a rock fight and the last team to hold the ball wins? And if it is Kansas City, because the number keeps creeping up, 43.5, now 44.5, we get a shootout?
I would lean more towards the under. I think you have the factor of the rain, the weather, which makes me think that both quarterbacks, Lamar and Patrick, they're not going to pass as much. Actually, my favorite prop that I'm on in that game right now is Patrick Mahomes under his passing yards total. I think that the Chiefs lean on that run like they did there against the Bills. I think Isaiah Pacheco is going to have a good game. And then you've got a quarterback who scrambles, and that's what he's known for. He uses his legs a lot as well. So I'm leaning more towards an under game than an over game between these two.
You shocked it's moving up, Dave?
No, not at all. I think you saw them have success against Buffalo. I mean, they didn't punt till the fourth quarter. That game went back back and forth, right? So I don't know if they're going to be able to run the ball, though. Like, that's the game. That's the handicap. And Taylor, if you like the rushing, if you think they're going to be able to run the ball, you probably should look at betting the Chiefs or betting a couple of their rushing props over. If you don't think that Kansas is going to be able to run the ball, and Baltimore can turn them one-dimensional and bracket Kelsey, he is not going to have as good a game as he had against Buffalo. I don't think so.
I don't
think
so
They have
either.
to run the ball to that's their path to victory. Pacheco has to have a good game. They have to run the ball. They have to control. They win at time of possession. All the basic things that win them football games, but they have to run the ball. So you like them to run the ball, you like Kansas City. You like them not to run the ball, because I think Baltimore is going to be able to run the ball. The difference for Baltimore, right, will be, do they have explosive plays in them? Because the one thing that Kansas City's defense has been very successful this season, really for the first time in a while, they don't really give up big plays. You got to go 8, 10, 12 play drives. Baltimore could do that, but that's through limiting their explosive plays. So, the thinking's all there. The handicap is all there. You just have to pick which direction you're going.
Feels like the Detroit game has got overwritten all over. Because even if that's a blowout, it feels like we're getting points there, Taylor, right? 50.5 right now, 51. It just, I hate both defense. I am not convinced that the 49ers defense is this, an unbeatable, immovable force here. I think Detroit's going to be able to get their points. Are they not?
I like what you're saying, Joe. I think you got Brock Purdy, Jared Goff, two quarterbacks that I think are pretty similar in their talent, but they're often elevated because of the offensive pieces that they have around them on their teams. And both sides have great receiving cores. You've got the Lions with Amon-Ra St. Brown. Then you've got the 49ers with Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk. And of course, you've got a beast in the running game with the 49ers as well, and Christian McCaffrey. You've got Gibbs. And you've got Gibbs there for the Lions as well, and David Montgomery, that little tandem. So many offensive pieces. It's got to go over in this game. At least that's what everybody's going to want to hope for and want to see is points in the Lions 49ers.
I can't see a rock fight in that game, especially since the weather looks like it's going to cooperate there. All right, we'll check out the hardwood when in-game live continues here. Primetime on the grid.
Games of the year, Warren, on Sunday night as the Chiefs are now headed back to a 6th championship game. An extremely fun, clean game, and then the hijinks ensue.
And I thought it was just irresponsible for him to take that deep shot into the end zone. I talked a lot about it on X. I thought that they should have hit that underneath route to Diggs. He was wide open. It would have been easily a first down.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Kyle Shanahan said after the game it was the same shoulder that made Deebo Samuel miss 2 games throughout this regular season in 2023.
Last time it was a scapular fracture. He missed a couple weeks. By video, we don't see that. It was the play that he got hit and had a head check. It's more believed to be a muscle injury. X-rays are proven to be negative. They're saying 50-50 right now.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
This will not end well in Milwaukee. They will flame out, there will be problems, and we will see what happens of who's the next domino to go. Does Giannis just sign an extension, ask out after a year? Do they move on from Dame? Or do they start blowing up some of the other guys, Brook Lopez, Bobby Portis, so on and so forth? It'll be worth watching.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network.
We'll look at the Heisman Trophy
The early line.
and what it all means. Individual success.
You should have tried to get something for Anthony Rendon. Not bought at the deadline.
Newswire.
We're getting a lot of news, trades, cuts, and some movement in terms of starting quarterbacks,
Pharrell
backup quarterbacks.
coast to coast.
I want to watch great players make buckets and win games.
Game time
I have
decisions.
no idea what the heck the Blazers are doing and what they
In-game live.
Just
Prime
took 'em
time.
yard for a grand slam.
The bottom of the 4th inning in a 12-2 baseball game. We got football scores going on at Wrigley right now.
Sports Rage
That was good
Late
betting.
Night.
We waited for the 1.5. We got paid.
We
for
did.
patient, didn't like the 2.5. Jumped on
There's
it.
no taking weeks off in golf betting, ever. These are the best weeks to bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in-game live. We are Primetime here on the Sports Grid Network. Joe Raineri alongside Dave Sharapan and Taylor Mathis, as it appears defense optional here tonight in the association, except for one game in which it is Brickfest USA for the defending champs. But we'll start here at the top. Games in the second half right now. The 76ers, guys, with Embiid and company, are getting boat raced right now, 85-67, about 9 minutes to go in the third. No Halliburton. I know there were a lot of people that thought, well, no Halliburton, probably no scoring. Well, they got 85 points with 9 minutes to play in the third, so that looks like offensively the Pacers should be okay there. The Jazz also running it up on the Wizards, no surprise. The Heat and the Celtics, I will say this, Dave, this game closed 222 for a total. It is now 77-64. One blast, 77-64 at the break.
251 and a half.
The over is pretty safe to go. No defense, all offense in that game. Out of control right now in Miami.
One of those ones where this is the example, A, that I use when they say, boy, how do the books know? How does Vegas know?
Yeah.
They always get these numbers so close. And then you go, oh, what this close? 222. What's the in-game total? 251 and a half. Oh, so we missed it by 30. Oh, yeah, that's the pace we're on right now. So as good as the numbers are sometimes, and they are good, sometimes they're not. This is definitely not one of those best efforts as far as being close to the number.
Woo.
But listen, look at the shooting percentages. This is one of those things.
It's crazy.
Some nights you get these nights in the NBA, right, T? Like you see this all the time. It happens.
You've got the Heat are shooting over 54% right now from the field and almost 43% from three, yet they're still down by 10 right now at almost halftime to the Celtics. So that's saying how good both of these teams are shooting the ball tonight, and the Heat are still down. The Celtics are really good.
Yeah, well, zero defense in that one. Not like at the Garden, though, Taylor. We were just talking off air. The Nuggets are going through it right now. And give credit to the Knicks defense. They might be the only ones playing any defense here tonight. The Knicks 62-41 at the break. The Nuggets had 41 points in the first half. That's it. What's going on there? You said the percentages were horrific for Denver.
38% from the field right now, which in comparison to what they normally put up, obviously things are not on par. Jokic has the most points right now for the Nuggets with 17, and Murray is second behind him. He's only got 7.
Oh, yeah. I mean, disgusting here. You also have the Timberwolves on the second of a back-to-back here. Doesn't really matter. They're beating the Nets here. 60-48. But good news, Brooklyn. Reports are that the Cavalry is on his way. Ben Simmons about to be activated any day now. Could very well be back by this weekend, huh? Yeah, no? Yeah. Okay, the hell with that. Stay on IR. Nobody needs you there. We also have a couple more games coming up tonight, though. Kings, Golden State, Bulls, Lakers. Of these two late games here, Taylor, which one stuck out to you?
The one that stuck out the most to me, that I've got the most plays for, is the Bulls-Lakers game. But I'm more intrigued by the Kings Golden State game because of the rivalry that exists there. Because over the last few seasons, it's become such a big rivalry within Northern California and within the NBA. Sacramento's revamped to a much more competitive, younger roster. And these games are getting closer to an even playing field throughout the years. The last 2 seasons, when these two teams play, despite being very high-flying offenses, the defenses tend to be a bit tighter. So I'm going with Chef Curry to cook it up on the glass tonight, over 3.5 rebounds. Curry's only hit this over 50% of the time through his last 10 games against Sacramento since 2021. In 17 contests, Curry's only had 3 boards or less in just 4 games against the Kings, and he averages over 5 boards a game when he's playing Sacramento. I like him over the 3.5 rebounds mark.
Ooh. Look at that. We got a set change here. Yes, Dave. You look like Caruso. Are you getting a Caruso prop here? What's going on?
I couldn't wait for Taylor's next best bet. I saw the graphic. I said, put this up. This is my guy. Look at this. I'm so excited.
I love it.
We don't talk before the show. Look at this. I got to let the beard come in. Diet a little bit. This is perfect. That's me. That's him.
Yeah.
Alex Caruso. That's my guy.
You guys are twins.
That is fantastic.
I don't got the handle. Okay. What's the play? What is the play?
I can't wait. Come on, Taylor. You know it's mush now, Taylor. It's no good now, so just let it out.
I hope it is. My favorite play in the Bulls Los Angeles game is actually going to be on the side. I'm taking the Bulls, the points, +5 right now. We've seen that move line quite a bit throughout the day. It was 4, 4.5. Now it's up to 5. The Lakers are just sliding down the Western Conference standings right now. They're currently in 9th with a losing record. They've gone 5-5 through their last 10 games. The Lakers are at the bottom half of the league in points allowed, rebounds, assists, and dead last when it comes to defending beyond the arc, allowing opponents over 14 made threes a game. I'm aware that Chicago is nowhere near the top of the league from downtown, but Bulls center Alex Caruso, he's hitting that 3 ball at 42% this season. That's top 20 in the NBA. And point guard Kobe White has been white hot lately in the last 3 games with a field goal percentage in each of those above 50%. The Bulls are coming off a tough loss, a last-second loss to my Suns on the road. Chicago, I think, is going to come out quick in this one, keep it close. So I'm going to take the 5 points with Chicago.
Both teams need a win. Both teams are pretty desperate here at this point. They were up there 20 against your Phoenix team there on Monday night, and it was meltdown beyond meltdown. And then, of course, of all guys, Durant's the one that's got to beat you. So now we're hearing how great he is and how he's one of the greatest of all time. That's a whole other story there. But Dave, I don't know, does LeBron go? Anthony Davis was listed as questionable. They're starting to get father time at this point in the season with this Lakers team here.
That's the hard part, like pregame right now. The game doesn't tip until 7:40 Pacific, 10:40 Eastern. So it'll be the late night special. It's the Thursday night special. It's the get back game or the double up game or whatever you want to call it. So I don't know. I mean, even the computer has it, the Smart Moves NBA projection says Lakers by 3. It's going to be a tight game. You think the dog can win, you take them plus the points. I think it's worth the sprinkle on a money line. One of those situations, though, that the Bulls' problem, like they've had leads, like not big leads like that and blown them, but they just haven't figured out how to close games. And that's the one thing that if it's close and the Lakers and AD are on the court, then they get the calls, the Lakers win. So I don't know. I'll be paying attention to this. The Sacramento Golden State game would normally have, I don't know, more like K-Dub says, juice. But my goodness, I mean, we got a couple really just messes going on with those two teams. I don't know. Sacramento is favored on the road at Golden State. Let me just say that out loud again, because I can't remember since maybe the Chris Webber days where this was even possible. So how far has Golden State fallen? And, Sacramento to be a road favorite is very surprising to me. It looks so obvious to take Golden State plus the points. It really does. And then you watch Golden State will lose. They'll get blown out by 5 to 10 points. So I don't know. I'm interested in both. But, I had to break out the Chicago stuff. And I don't know. I mean, if you put those side by side with the Alex Caruso, I've been told
identical.
It's a little bit like it. I'm going to have to get a black headband. It's a little bit scary how close they could be.
Yes.
So, yes.
A
little bit.
You're going to need the red jersey too. Yeah, we're going to have to get you the red jersey.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like
yep.
Right there.
Yep. This is sweet.
Handle right there.
I mean, honestly, Dave, if I close my left eye and I look like from the angle, it's like dead on, dude. And honestly, it's dead on. And really spot on. I listen.
Identical twins.
The top of the head is undeniable how much it looks alike. It really is. Everything above the band, it looks really, really good there. I will say this too about the Golden State game. I don't understand a line either. Simply because, yes, I get it's the second of a back-to-back, but I give Golden State all the credit in the world to come out and play the way they did against Atlanta after a week off and having to deal with that unbelievable tragedy of losing their assistant coach. But it may be just exactly kind of a reset moment for Golden State. Draymond Green, that looked a hell of a lot like the Golden State Warriors we thought we were going to get this year here yesterday. So I don't think the second of a back-to-back coming off a week off the court is a big deal. You're home. Like you were home last night, you're home now. It's not that big a deal here. And I think Sacramento, who trusts Sacramento to win anything by distance here? I mean, they're pretty decent, 6-3 against the number in the last 9, but they're only 4-5 straight up. So I don't understand the number. And I think if Golden State comes out like they did last night with that spacing, that shooting, Draymond's a difference maker. Love him, hate him for Golden State. They're nothing without him. So if they play like they did last night, not only do they win this game, but they might be signaling to the rest of the league that they're just not done yet, Taylor. And I believe that might very well be the case here tonight.
We'll see. I was too nervous to touch a side in that game either way, because I just think that rivalry's gotten tricky. Although Golden State definitely has the upper hand over the last few years and this season thus far. So the fact that they are underdogs at home, it's a little weird.
Feels like an over, too. I don't know. Call me crazy. Feels like an over.
I read something interesting, a stat about that, actually. When these two teams play, everybody expects that it's going to be an over because they're very high-flying offenses. I think one game out of their last 10 matchups has actually hit the over. They've all, actually 9 out of the 10 have been the under.
I've gone under in this matchup.
That is something that is a stat that I came across today.
Love it.
It's interesting, too, because they both of their defenses have been this year here. So this is going to be, I do think a high-scoring game would favor Golden State, especially at home there. But I think we'll know quickly whether or not they played on pure adrenaline last night or if they actually maybe figured some things out and that week off, stepping away from the game, dealing with the tragedy, maybe a blessing in disguise for them. But they got to stay on the court. They got to stay healthy, and they got to win this game if anybody is going to think the Warriors maybe are still alive and well in the Western Conference. The Lakers, I think we can stick a fork in the Lakers sooner rather than late. I'm just saying the Lakers. Hello, Father Time? Yeah, he's calling. He wants his team back. Time to go, Lakers. Sorry. It's been fun.
Games of the year, Warren, on Sunday night as the Chiefs are now headed back to a 6th championship game. An extremely fun, clean game, and then the hijinks ensue.
And I thought it was just irresponsible for him to take that deep shot into the end zone. I talked a lot about it on X. I thought that they should have hit that underneath route to Diggs. He was wide open. It would have been easily a first down.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Kyle Shanahan said after the game it was the same shoulder that made Deebo Samuel miss 2 games throughout this regular season in 2023.
Last time it was a scapular fracture. He missed a couple weeks. By video, we don't see that. It was the play that he got hit and had a head check. It's more believed to be a muscle injury. X-rays are proven to be negative. They're saying 50-50 right now.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
This will not end well in Milwaukee. They will flame out, there will be problems, and we will see what happens of who's the next domino to go. Does Giannis just sign an extension, ask out after a year? Do they move on from Dame? Or do they start blowing up some of the other guys, Brook Lopez, Bobby Portis, so on and so forth? It'll be worth watching.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network.
We'll look at the Heisman Trophy
The Early
race
Line.
and what it all means. Individual success.
You should have tried to get something for Anthony Rendon. Not bought at the deadline.
Newswire.
We're getting a lot of news, trades, cuts, and some movement in terms of starting quarterbacks,
Pharrell
backup quarterbacks.
coast to coast.
I want to watch great players make buckets and win games.
Game time
I have
decisions.
no idea what the heck the Blazers are doing and what they
In-game live.
Just
Prime
took 'em
time.
yard for a grand slam.
The bottom of the 4th inning in a 12-2 baseball game. We got football scores going on at Wrigley right now.
Sports Rage
That was good
Late
betting.
Night.
We waited for 1.5. We got paid
We
for
did.
information. Didn't like the 2.5. Jumped on
There's
it.
no taking weeks off in golf betting, ever. These are the best weeks to bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
So we're learning if Taylor ever invites you to go see your favorite team, you say no. Under any circumstances, you say no. Welcome back in In-Game Live Primetime here on the Sports Grid Network. All right, we're wrapping up hour number 1. We got much more to get to. Plenty coming up late night in college basketball as well here. But if you are just joining us, Taylor, before we get you out of here, just to recap for those that might be joining us here. We are rooting for the Chiefs this weekend. We are rooting for Dave's, looks like Dave's brother of some sort tonight, Caruso, we're looking at. Yes, he's wearing it for over
Caruso.
2.5 assists in this one.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness,
AKA
look
Dave
at this.
Sharapan, over 2.5 assists.
You're going, Dave,
Are you heading
over
out for the
2.5, Dave.
Are you supposed to be on the court for the game right now? I thought you
I gotta
should be
catch
warming
You
up.
gotta warm up,
You should
dude.
be a warm-up.
You
I
gotta
gotta
warm up.
Yeah, this is
No.
bad. I got to get over the assist.
Can't
This is
trust
great.
you.
Look at all these shots of
Nope.
Caruso that we got on file.
Nope.
This is unbelievable.
Can't.
That's great. Good.
Unreal.
T,
Absolutely unreal.
Buffalo didn't win. Okay, you called it. You told everybody
No.
for weeks it was going to
I
happen. It happened. All right. Just give me the NFC winner. That's all I want from you right now. We're talking on a break. We're all kind of want Detroit. We're not going to see you again until next week when we know the matchup. I'm not asking you for the AFC winner because we know you like KC. Just who's going to be representing the NFC in the Super Bowl?
Oh, my heart says the Lions. My heart wants the Lions. I do. I would take the points. I would take the 7 points with Detroit. I think they're going to keep this game much closer than people expect them to. I think we're going to see the 49ers outright win, though.
Not
Goff
good.
to throw a pick?
Well,
Goff to throw a pick?
no.
Ooh, I got to
Hasn't
look at
thrown one all.
my interception props haven't been as good the past few
No.
weeks of the playoffs as normal.
He has not. He's been remarkably interception free. Taylor, we appreciate it. Good luck. In-game live returns here on the grid.
smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in. Off and running another hour here of In-Game Live Primetime on the SportsGrid Network. Joe Raineri alongside Dave Sharapan as we've got plenty going on in the NBA. We got a bunch of great college basketball out on the West Coast coming up here tonight. We've got a few games here on the ice. We got plenty of NFL coming up this weekend. And we've got a lot of, blowouts right now here in the association, including the 76ers. They've getting absolutely pummeled by the Pacers, who still have about a minute and a half to go and have scored 106 points. And they're in the third quarter here. So this could be payback, maybe? Payback for the Pacers getting beat up here a little bit? Wouldn't shock me.
Yeah, and don't forget, you said it during the break, we should be fading the Sixers and maybe fading Embiid after 70-point performance. I was in Philadelphia watching it with my brother, going crazy. It was great. I wanted to go to the game, couldn't make it to the game, but watched the game and thought, definitely got to play against them the next night they play. And that would be tonight. They're road favorites. Again, books get them right, books get them wrong. Sixers -5 tonight on the road. Not sure what anybody might have been looking at, but that's not the way this one's going to play out. Joe, I look like Caruso.
By the way, he does have 32 points. I mean, to be fair, he's got 32. So he followed 70 with so far 32 with a quarter still to go. Could he go 70-40? Ooh.
Wouldn't that be something? That would be good.
Oh,
I don't know what his in-game drop would be, but that's worth a look.
That's MVP numbers.
He's the MVP. They were chanting MVP the other night at the game. But, we got hockey going on. Game's getting ready to start. The biggest line of the season. I've never seen a line this season as high as Edmonton. I talked about it yesterday with Wetzel. I said, what do you make the number? It's got to be at least 600. It's -630, Joe. 630, -650 in places. Joe, you're a wise man. You've been around this game a long, long time. Would you ever lay this on a hockey game?
I'm sorry. I'm placing the wager on the Blackhawks as you're talking there. What was the question again?
+2.5.
Yeah, no. This is first of all, how do you even come up with a number like that? I'm just curious. You're acting as if this number, to me, Dave, signifies that the Blackhawks might only have 3 guys on ice. It's 5-on-3 the entire game. Is that what we're dealing with here? Because if it's not, there is no justification for a -$7 favorite here on any. This is the NHL, is it not? I mean, the Blackhawks are still an NHL team, and anything can happen. You got to go Blackhawks, Dave. You got to go Blackhawks.
I think +2.5 is a good bet. They played before. This is the third time they played. They lost 2-1 to the Oilers last time. The reason for the number, I'll give you this. Edmonton's on a 14-game winning streak, okay? The longest in the league history is 17 by the Penguins in 1992-93 that ended up losing in the playoffs to that Islander team, David Volek. Producers are doing the show. They have no idea what I'm talking about. But Carver, if you're watching, still mad about that Islander team beating that Penguin team. But you have to make the number a number where somebody is going to willingly give you money or place a bet on an app that's going to take the dog. It's not the favorite price you got to come up with. It's the dog price. And if I say +300 to you, you're going to go, no, I'm not doing that. That's not enough. They got 4 wins on the season on the road. Can't do it. Despite the fact that you look like Alex Caruso or Elmer Fudd, pick which one, I don't know. But I can't give you you're not going to give me the money that way, Joe. It's not a good enough price.
No.
So I got to go, all right, +450. Would I interest you in that? You might partake in +450 in a hockey game. I don't think the Blackhawks are going to win, but why can't they keep it close? Look at the puck line in the first period. K-Dub hit me with this one. It's only -0.5, -130 at the book he was looking at. That's just wrong, right? Like, it can't be. If the price is -650, the first period can't be -0.5, -130, right?
How is the total only 6.5 at -650? Like, what? You're telling me this is going to be blowout city, is what you're telling me at this price,
yes.
and yet you're telling me there's only going to be 6.5. We're not going to get 7 goals. It sounds like 6 of them are coming from the Oilers alone in this 1 year. I don't get
score. That's the handicap. How many goals are the Blackhawks going to score? Probably less than 2, maybe 2, but probably 1 or 0. So if you play the total, I think you got to play the team total for the Oilers only, rather than play the game, because you're gonna need them. You're gonna need the Blackhawks to score at least 2, I think, to get over. The game could be 5-2, but it could be 5-1. So a lot of interesting dynamics in the game. I think it's fun to talk about. The other late game that hasn't started, it's getting ready to go, is Columbus and Calgary. Another game where you're like, boy, oh boy. I mean, Columbus is bad. Okay. But Calgary is minus what? 200 in a game where you know the 6.5, there's going to be goals scored in this game, Joe. First period over, game over. I can't believe Calgary's this big of a favorite.
Listen, didn't they just play last night and squeak out a game? Was it?
Yeah.
They need, yeah. So they, or the night before they played, I think it was the Blues.
Oh, 2 nights before. Yeah, 2 nights ago.
Yeah.
Against the Blues.
So they are at $2. Listen, this has got disaster written all over it for people. It really does. You got the Blue Jackets that are probably being undervalued here at this point in this game.
Yes.
You've got the Blackhawks, who are absolutely being disrespected here in so many levels. It's not even funny. It reminds me very much like the San Jose Sharks the other night, who were playing the Kings as almost a $4 favorite. Remember that game? What the hell is the difference between the San Jose Sharks as a $4 underdog there against the Kings versus this right now? Anything can happen. Anything. And the Kings lost in overtime, 5-4, to a team that they were almost never going to lose to, except they lost.
Anything can happen. You're right. Like, look at the in-game for the Boston Bruins right now. What are they up, 2-1?
You're forcing me to bet the Blackhawks. This is just forcing me to bet the Blackhawks. This is terrible.
I mean, do it if you want to.
No, that was a disgusting number, and now you're forcing me that I have to go contrarian. I don't have a choice now.
Right.
Who scores the first goal? If it's the Blackhawks,
what is the number?
Yeah, we're going to have to look at that, too, next year. In-game live continues.
Games of the year, Warren, on Sunday night, as the Chiefs are now headed back to a 6th championship game. An extremely fun, clean game, and then the hijinks ensue.
And I thought it was just irresponsible for him to take that deep shot into the end zone. I talked a lot about it on X. I thought that they should have hit that underneath route to Diggs. He was wide open. It would have been easily a first down.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Kyle Shanahan said after the game it was the same shoulder that made Deebo Samuel miss 2 games throughout this regular season in 2023.
Last time it was a scapular fracture. He missed a couple weeks. By video, we don't see that. It was the play that he got hit, had a head check. It's more believed to be a muscle injury. X-rays are proven to be negative. They're saying 50-50 right now.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
This will not end well in Milwaukee. They will flame out, there will be problems, and we will see what happens of who's the next domino to go. Does Giannis just sign an extension, ask out after a year? Do they move on from Dame? Or do they start blowing up some of the other guys, Brook Lopez, Bobby Portis, so on and so forth? It'll be worth watching.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network.
We'll look at the Heisman Trophy
The Early
race
Line.
and what it all means. Individual success.
You should have tried to get something for Anthony Rendon, not bought at the deadline.
Newswire.
We're getting a lot of news, trades, cuts, and some movement in terms of starting quarterbacks,
Pharrell
backup quarterbacks.
coast to coast.
I want to watch great players make buckets and win games.
Game time
You have
decisions.
no idea what the heck the Blazers are doing and what they
In-game live.
Just
Prime
took 'em
time.
yard for a grand slam.
The bottom of the fourth inning in a 12-2 baseball game. We got football scores going on at Wrigley right now.
Sports Rage
That was good
late
betting.
night.
We waited for 1.5. We got paid
We did.
information. Didn't like the 2.5. Jumped on
There's
it.
no taking weeks off in golf betting, ever. These are the best weeks to bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in-game live. We are Primetime here on the SportsGrid Network. Joe Raineri alongside Dave Sharapan, as we've got a couple of games. Actually, most of these games are all blowouts in the association right now. 112-92, 10 minutes to go in the game there. Pacers throttling the 76ers. Utah finally looks like they're going to remember how to win a game on the road here as they are up 123-108 over the Wizards. So it does look like Utah finally gets one in the win column. The Celtics are just manhandling the Heat right now, 103-87 with 3.5 to go in the third. And this is just crazy, Dave. The Knicks, 86, Nuggets, 60. We've only got 3 minutes left in the third. Listen, there are nights like this where, shooting doesn't exactly work all that well, but keeping an eye on this game, this looks a lot more like the Thibs kind of New York Knicks defense that he's always been preaching and looking for, because every shot is contested. They are all up in the Nuggets situation right now, and it's paying dividends. I mean, 86-60, Dave, that's an impressive statement here by this Knicks with this new look Knicks team, and I do think Brunson may be one of the most underrated superstars in the NBA. The guy is an absolute flat out baller.
No question. And I think, like you said, with the new look Knicks, I'm looking at the points. Randall, 12. DiVincenzo, 14. Brunson, leading scorer, 21. Like, they're spreading the ball around. 7 assists for Randall. He's leading the Knicks in assists.
Crazy.
I don't want to say that, like, all right, the Knicks are getting poised for a playoff run. That would be advancing, putting everything ahead of the ball horse before the cart a little too quickly. Okay. But it's fun when the Knicks are good. It's fun for the NBA and to have them in it. There's the conference odds right there. They're right behind. I mean, I can't believe they're still behind the Heat myself. I would actually flip those two. The gap dead between them and the Cavs. The Cavs, I think, legit just lost for the first time in 8 games yesterday. but the Cavs playing pretty good basketball. The Eastern Conference, with the Bucks hiring Doc Rivers and firing a guy who was 30-13 because the players weren't sure about the defense or whomever. However that all happened, I don't know. And then the Heat are lurking. They go make a good move. The Eastern Conference got pretty interesting. I think those top 6 is going to make for an entertaining run because you're going to see nights like tonight where Jokic has 27. He's getting his. But the rest of the Nuggets aren't scoring. This might, is this the blueprint to beat the Denver Nuggets? Let Jokic score, maybe get a triple-double, and make sure no one else does?
Well, this has been impressive by the Knicks. The question is, can you ultimately a 4 out of 7 series is really what will determine if anybody's going to beat Denver, and that's going to be very hard to do in Denver too. As well. But the Knicks, even without Hartenstein, and I was wondering who was going to cover Jokic here tonight. He didn't play, so Anunoby, it looks like Precious Achiuwa was the one that was assigned to him, along with Jericho Sims. And you're right, it's not a bad formula. Go ahead, enjoy yourself here, Jokic. Nobody else is scoring around you. They have been playing some fantastic defense and owning the boards, too, which has also been pretty important in this one. The other team in New York, by the way, is not done just yet as they get ready to head into the fourth quarter. The Nets down 7 right now, 81-74 over against the Timberwolves here. And again, Ben Simmons being reported very close to being back with the team, hoping he'll be back sometime this weekend, which, hey, that would be nice. I mean, you're paying the guy to kind of hang out and do. No, I wish we could get a job like that, Dave. In fact, I don't know any idea on how we can get to be a coach of the Milwaukee Bucks because they're paying 3 of them now, but only one actually gets to hang out on the sideline, which means there's other coaches catching checks that have nothing to do with coaching the Milwaukee Bucks. So I'm wondering how we can get that job since Doc Rivers just got $40 million to come in midseason and coach this team while they're also still paying Budenholzer and now are going to be paying Griffin for the next 3-4 years anyway. So apparently they don't mind paying guys named coaches of the Bucks. How do we get that gig?
It's interesting because they played Cleveland last night, right? We're 7-point favorites, win by 10. They come back with this unique thing that the NBA has done where they play the same game in the same city, no travel in between, not back-to-backs. They play tomorrow night against the Cavs. The early look-ahead number has it lower. So they win and cover, and the number comes lower. It's 5.5. So I think, listen, I'm a wait and see. There had to be something going on that made them go 30-13 is not good enough. You only been here 3 months. There's the door. We got to bring in this guy who has basically no playoff success, who has been a coach of teams with very high-level star talent and didn't win. Bring him in because that's what somebody wants, whether it's the owners, the players, the GM. I don't know. But it's so bizarre. I flew all day from back east. I landed, took the kids that were here, my other 2 daughters that were home, took them out to dinner, came home, got everybody settled, opened up my phone, and it said, the Bucks have hired Doc Rivers. I thought I was being pranked. They what? They fired the coach and they got Doc Rivers. Okay, so wait and see. Wait and see, Joe. Speaking of waiting and seeing, Columbus already scored. It's 1-0 Columbus against Calgary. So that's 5 minutes in, we got a goal. Still no score in the Edmonton and Chicago game, Joe. We got a shot plus 2.5. I mean, this is working in the favor, but we talked about it during the break. If Chicago scores first, all right, they close as a minus 650 favorite for Edmonton, plus 450 for the dog. What is the price if Chicago scores first? What is the price if Edmonton scores first?
You got to hope. Well, Chicago would have to have a 6-0 lead for you to even get even money on Edmonton. I can't even imagine what it would have to be to get that. So this is either going to work out terribly for Edmonton or this game is going to be over by the time we get to the second period. And the longer it goes, Dave, you know that, the harder it's going to get, the more pressure is going to be on Edmonton not to lose this game. And that's the recipe for disaster right there.
Correct. So if Edmonton scores first, it cuts in half, most likely. So you get minus 300. Where you're a favorite, you're down 1-0 at home, and you're still minus 300. This is stuff you very rarely see. This is like Haley's Comet, once or twice a year. That's it. You see it. Haley's Comets once every 86 for you guys watching the show. I know that too. Before you come at me on the socials, I know Haley's Comets once every 86.
But it's probably going to happen again, though, right? What's going to happen when they play Boston? What's going to happen when they play Florida? I mean, it's always going to be this.
It's going to happen.
Crazy.
But if Edmonton scores first here, we go from minus 650 close to like minus 1,200 or minus 1,100 in a 1-0 hockey game. Also, a line that you never see. So. It'll be fun. We'll keep an eye on that the rest of the way. We got Cam coming up here in a couple segments. I can't wait to ask him about big game tomorrow. I don't know if you've heard. The Vegas Golden Knights are playing Jack's New York Rangers. Can't wait.
Listen, I took a Columbus Blackhawks money line parlay. I know Cam's going to love that. So let's see what happens here. We'll be back after this.
Games of the year, Warren, on Sunday night as the Chiefs are now headed back to a 6th championship game, an extremely fun, clean game, and then the hijinks ensue.
And I thought it was just irresponsible for him to take that deep shot into the end zone. I talked a lot about it on X. I thought that they should have hit that underneath route to Diggs. He was wide open. It would have been easily a first down.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Kyle Shanahan said after the game it was the same shoulder that made Deebo Samuel miss 2 games throughout this regular season in 2023.
Last time it was a scapular fracture. He missed a couple weeks. By video, we don't see that. It was the play that he got hit and had a head check. It's more believed to be a muscle injury. X-rays are proven to be negative. They're saying 50-50 right now.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
This will not end well in Milwaukee. They will flame out, there will be problems, and we will see what happens of who's the next domino to go. Does Giannis just sign an extension, ask out after a year? Do they move on from Dame? Or do they start blowing up some of the other guys, Brook Lopez, Bobby Portis, so on and so forth? It'll be worth watching.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network.
We'll look at the Heisman Trophy
The Early Line,
and what it all means. Individual success.
You should have tried to get something for Anthony Rendon. Not bought at the deadline.
Newswire.
We're getting a lot of news, trades, cuts, and some movement in terms of starting quarterbacks,
Pharrell coast to coast.
I want to watch great players make buckets and win games.
Game time decisions.
I have no idea what the heck the Blazers are doing and what they
InGame Live.
Just
Primetime.
Yard for a grand slam.
In the bottom of the 4th inning in a 12-2 baseball game. We got football scores going on at Wrigley right now.
Sports Rage
That was
Late
better.
Night.
We waited for 1.5. We got paid
We
situation. Didn't like the 2.5. Jumped on
There's
it.
no taking weeks off in golf betting, ever. These are the best weeks to bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live. We are Primetime here on the SportsGrid Network. Joe Raineri alongside Dave Sharapan. 8-0 Blackhawks out in front of the Edmonton. No, I'm only kidding. Still no score there. Edmonton and the Chicago Blackhawks, who were an epic, almost a $7 favorite tonight, the Oilers were. No score there with about 9 minutes to go. The Blue Jackets, $2 dog, though, although they're knotted up one apiece with the Flames right now in hockey. Also, nothing Wild and Predators right now. I thought we'd have some scoring there. 2-2 knotted up Ducks and Stars. And how about the Devils getting smoked by the Hurricanes now, 3-0. And Patrick Waugh, welcome back to Montreal there with the Islanders. They are beating the snot out of your new team. 3-1 here in that one. And I had no idea the Flyers actually still played hockey. Oh, look, they don't. It's 3-0 Detroit in that one. Ooh. And the Bruins trying to hold on 2-1 over the Senators. All right, we got some college hoops getting ready to start or just underway out west, including the Dons of San Francisco there, Dave, taking on the Zags. Gonzaga here early on in this one. I know a lot of people have stuck a fork in Mark Few and Gonzaga and are just like, nah, once, 38-year-old Drew Timme left, that's pretty much it. There's no reason to keep, but it's 13-10, the Dons. They are at the McCarthy Athletic Center there in Spokane, Washington. I kind of feel like maybe the Zags are flying under the radar and may not be a bad team to look at profiting on here as we get closer to March, because there's certainly enough talent on this team, Dave. They're going to make some headway at some particular point.
Making the Zags numbers was so easy once conference play started.
Yeah.
They were well, in the past, they were always like, at home, 14 to 18 point favorites. Sometimes when they played a really bad team, they'd be 24, somewhere in that neighborhood. Then they go on the road and they're either 9.5, 10.5, or 11.5, depending who they played. And if the team was really bad, you might lay 12.5 or a little bit more. Challenge now is that the Zags are human, that they're actually, you got to put in the work. You got to come up with these numbers, and you get them less than 10 at home. Mm-hmm. San Francisco's, I would say, above average for the conference. Okay. Totals 150, close 153.5. What are we seeing for the pace? I mean, it's 13-10. We're halfway through the first half, almost at the 10-minute mark. San Francisco's leading. I don't know, Joe. This might be the time to buy in now on the Zags in game, right? You get them in a much shorter number. Are they a team that you're looking at for March? Like, there's a lot of people making a lot of moves, okay? We talked about it on BVB. Yep. We got this guy who comes up with these ratings. All this other stuff is computer model. Everybody's got a model. Everybody's got a rating system. Everybody uses Ken Palm now, all this other stuff. But he said to us today, and I couldn't wait to ask you about it, he's got these teams rated from 1 to 50, where everybody is within 2 points. It's the first time in like 18 years that it goes that deep, where the teams are not that far apart. It is as wide open. Now, UConn is great, and they may be super great again in March.
Yep.
But doesn't it feel like almost any given game on a neutral, anybody can beat anybody this season?
It feels like there's less teams that you can put into that elite category, and you just mentioned it right now. I think there are 3 teams up at the top there that we can say are maybe just a cut above everyone else, and we're seeing it, right? So Purdue's up there, UConn's up there, and Houston is up there right now, right? Kansas and a few teams after that are kind of like right close, but not there. I think there is for the
is impossible.
Well, the Big 12. Here's the problem with the Big 12. You've got the teams in the bottom third are just as dangerous as the teams in the top third in the Big 12. There's not a whole lot separate, unless you're Oklahoma State, at which point you should just pack it in now there, Coach, and just move on. Just move on out, all right? Nobody's interested in watching you blow games again like you did the other night at Gallagher-Iba against TCU. Anyway, I digress. But I will say this. I do think the Mountain West, for instance, is there any real big difference between San Diego State and UNLV? No. Can Wyoming drop in and throw? Absolutely. I think there's a lot more teams in that middle as opposed to maybe more teams, which is what was supposed to happen here, right? Weren't we supposed to, with these new rules, get a lot more teams accumulating talent, making them a cut above?
Yeah.
We were going to get When's the last time we talked about Duke? Like, where is Duke? Are they still playing basketball?
Well, Kentucky, right? Like, Kentucky looked like they were going in that trajectory. They just go and lose to South Carolina.
Unless they go on the road.
Impossible. It is really hard to win on the road in college basketball. Always has been, but this year feels like it even more so. And then you got tonight with the Pac-12, and you got Arizona laying a gigantic number at Oregon State. The Pac-12 is a mess. And in fact, it's done because there's no more Pac-12 after this year. I still can't believe that. Don't know how this is all going to work. But Arizona looked like one of those elite teams early in the season, right? Not so much lately. But the power ratings and everything still have a huge number. They're at Oregon State. They're laying almost 20. Is Oregon State a team you could go to the window and say, like, all right, give me the Beavers plus the points before the game? I don't think so, Joe. I don't want nothing to do with this game.
Yeah, there's a lot of problems. You're talking about the Beavers and their coach, Wayne Tinkle. There's so many things wrong with all of that setup to begin with. But I will say this. I mean, Wayne's been there a million years, and he plays one style and one style only. It's at a crawling pace. It's completely opposite of what Arizona is. And quite honestly, we've seen Arizona, shall we say, vulnerable on the road against lesser competition already this year. And then it's one thing if you're going on the road, you're a big favorite playing a similar style school. Oh, you want to run? Okay, we'll run with you. Let's go. You're not going to beat Arizona at its own game, right? But my goodness, if you got a team, and that's not an easy place to play, you're going to go to Oregon State, and what's going to happen here? They're going to be crawling, absolutely crawling. And if they can keep it close early, I don't know how Arizona, I mean, they could very well win by 30, but judging from what we've seen, no, I wouldn't be laying, 20 points here tonight with a road-ranked team against an unranked home dog here. We've seen this how many times now, Dave? It doesn't work out very well. I'm very confused with the Oregon-Arizona State game, who Arizona State came out and boat raced Oregon early. They had a 20-10 lead. But here's the interesting part about Dana Altman and Oregon. This is the first game in which they had all original 5 starters they were supposed to have available to them. Everybody got hurt in the first game they played. They have 2 twin towers. They got this kid Biddle, who's a 7-footer, and they got this NBA who might be one of the top 3 picks coming up. This kid Dante, 6'11". These guys are monsters, and they've played 1 game together. Both got hurt, have missed significant time. They are all together tonight in Oregon, finally at Eugene. They're undefeated there. They were laying 9.5. I think what you're going to see is murder at Eugene here tonight with this team. Okay. Wait till you see the size of these 2 dudes roaming in the court at the same time for Oregon. They're another team, Dave, where they had to deal with injuries. People forgot how good a coach Dana Altman is, how good Oregon is. I think they're going to get reminded as time moves on here. So that is without a doubt a game I'm going to keep an eye on and get a better number than 9 right now. It was 20-10, Dave. It's 24-23 right now. See? Just like that.
Here we go. That's what happens.
Yep.
We'll continue to revisit this Thursday night. It's a unique night for college basketball because it's the night where you get all the West Coast Conference games.
Yeah,
you get
late night
usually
games.
Hawaii's playing, like tonight. Hawaii's playing late. You see Riverside against UC San Diego. Cal State Northridge against Cal State Santa Barbara. Irvine, UC Irvine against Long Beach State, Cal State Fullerton against Cal Poly, all the Cal, this, that, directional schools, Pepperdine and Santa Clara. So we'll get those in the mix. We'll get those, boards made ahead of time, and we'll talk about
St.
all
Mary's
that stuff.
playing too?
St. Mary's is playing tonight. They're laying 4 touchdowns. St. Mary's is laying 4 touchdowns, minus 28 against Pacific, Joe.
Are they playing the Blackhawks? Who are they playing?
The Blackhawks and the Oilers are still tied 0-0. It's 6 minutes left. I mean, like, this is one of them ones in a room where you're like, you start to believe. You're in the book. You're holding the ticket like you.
What's the number now?
Going, we can win this game. We can win this game.
What's the number? Yeah, well, you know me. I'm going to let Cam know we're on that. Let's go. Let's go the giggles parlay here with Columbus and the Blackhawks. See what Cam thinks about that when he joins us coming up here. Let's get it. Let's do it here. We'll run down that scoreboard. We'll see what Cam thinks and what he likes coming up next here on the grid.
Games of the year, Warren, on Sunday night as the Chiefs are now headed back to a 6th championship game, an extremely fun, clean game, and then the hijinks ensue.
And I thought it was just irresponsible for him to take that deep shot into the end zone. I talked a lot about it on X. I thought that they should have hit that underneath route to Diggs. He was wide open. It would have been easily a first down.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Kyle Shanahan said after the game it was the same shoulder that made Deebo Samuel miss 2 games throughout this regular season in 2023.
Last time it was a scapular fracture. He missed a couple weeks. By video, we don't see that. It was the play that he got hit, had a head check. It's more believed to be a muscle injury. X-rays are proven to be negative. They're saying 50-50 right now.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
This will not end well in Milwaukee. They will flame out, there will be problems, and we will see what happens of who's the next domino to go. Does Giannis, who just signed an extension, ask out after a year? Do they move on from Dame? Or do they start blowing up some of the other guys, Brook Lopez, Bobby Portis, so on and so forth? It'll be worth watching.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network.
We'll look at the Heisman Trophy
The early line
and what it all means. Individual success.
You should have tried to get something for Anthony Rendon. Not bought at the deadline.
Newswire.
We're getting a lot of news, trades, cuts, and some movement in terms of starting quarterbacks,
Pharrell
backup quarterbacks.
coast to coast.
I want to watch great players make buckets and win games.
Game time
You
decisions.
have no idea what the heck the Blazers are doing and what they
In-game live.
Just
Prime
took 'em
time.
yard for a grand slam.
The bottom of the 4th inning in a 12-2 baseball game. We got football scores going on at Wrigley right now.
Sports Rage
That was
Late
good betting.
Night.
We waited for 1.5. We got paid
We did.
information. Didn't like the 2.5. jumped on
There's
it.
no taking weeks off in golf betting, ever. These are the best weeks to bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
So I would just like to tell you, if there is one man at SportsGrid that can appreciate the dumpster diving I am doing tonight, it is Cam Stewart in the house here, getting ready to take over at the top of this hour with Gabe Morency. And Cam, Sharapan goes over there and tells me Edmonton's a $6-7 favorite here. And immediately I take a page out of the Cam Stewart book and I'm like, well, I'm backing the Blackhawks. I'm taking the Blackhawks on the money line. And then he brings up Columbus as a $2. Yep. Give me Columbus, too, and I'll put them right together, Cam. How are you, my man?
Hanging in there. Always better with you guys. Like, literally, I was having a panic attack before the show. I'm like, losing. In 5 minutes, I'm tied in 3 games. So I think the Canadians just scored. But I got the Islanders plus 2.5, so hopefully Peter pays Paul. Let me tell you guys something. You're so right, Joe. Like, I'm looking at these books. They're starting with a line like I've never seen a line this big before. Like, this is nuts. I know Edmonton's on a heater, but and the goal line is 2.5, and one of the it's no juice like on one of the books. It's like you got to lay juice with the 2.5. Here's the thing: Chicago without Bedard, they're offensively challenged. But when Gabe and I were doing the show, they lost to Vancouver 2-0 and dominated play after the first period. I watched the game against Seattle. They actually didn't play bad. Their goalie just played bad. Mrazek had a bad game. It's not like these things are going to happen. I'm not late. So you to win a bet, you got to win by 3 goals with Edmonton. If they do it, so be it. I can't be a part of it. And Joe, you know this. Dave, you know this. Flame. What does fire do? It burdens things. Houses, money, currency, kroners, US dollars, loonies, whatever the hell it is. Fire burns. You can't lay anything over like $1.50 with the Flames. Like, honest to God, they're a train wreck. That's my brother's team. Like, it's taken like 20. You think I got problems with the Leafs? You should see what this guy looks like. Oh my God, he's so beat down. Yeah, the Calgary burns money. Don't bet this team at a price.
Can't do it.
You take them as a dog. You take them as a dog, right? That's it.
Absolutely.
I agree.
You can't do it as a favorite. Way too expensive. Before we move on to some football and maybe some NBA tonight, I got to ask you, tomorrow night, the Golden Knights are playing Jack's Rangers. And the Rangers are like minus 150, minus 160. The Knights have been in a bad way recently. The Rangers are coming off of that West Coast trip, and they're back home. The Knights have been in the metro area, right? They beat the Devils. They beat the Islanders. Or no, they lost to the Devils. They beat the Islanders. Live dog tomorrow night. I'm just trying to get this out there now so Jack understands it's not personal tomorrow.
Oh, Jack will tell you to bet Vegas. I know this guy. He's always telling me, damn, the Rangers, watch out for these guys. They'll screw it tonight. He knows. You can't be laying with these guys. They had a horrible trip. But here's the thing. They're going to be motivated. But the thing is, Vegas has been there for a while. You're right, Dave. It was like if it was Vegas on a back-to-back and the Rangers were going through something, I'd say yes. But they've been in the New York area for a while. Get the fun out one night, and they'll be ready to go. Vegas is always dangerous as an underdog. I don't really love the game, but it's dog or nothing for me. So that's the way I would look at that game. I got to give Brady Cannon some props on the air. I know this golf tournament's only 2 rounds in, but I don't know anybody in North America that had like Højgaard, guys in second. I'm not even sure if you had Thomas Dietrich. Like, I look at the board, it's Belgium, Denmark. It's like a United Nations chocolate festival here. I have no idea. Like,
he had Finau too.
I rode Finau with him. Joe, he's got 3 of the top 5 guys in the tournament right now.
Yes.
I'm like, please don't screw this guy on Sunday. We've already been screwed. Saturday, because there's no golf on Sunday. The football's on Sunday. So shout out to our boy Brady if he's listening or watching. Great golf picks, and hopefully me and Carver could bat one home. I think we're all on Finau. And guys, I'm dumpster diving big time in college basketball tonight. I'm almost embarrassed to tell you like what teams I'm taking here. We're going Big West style.
Give it to us.
Cal Bakersfield +4.
Perfect.
I got them. Who else do I got? Some
First one to 12 wins.
Dude, here's my 2-pack tonight. You want to hear losers? Cal Poly Slow +5. Oh my God. I don't even think I can't even understand how the computer accepted this bet. Cal Poly Slow and who's the other 3.5 point dog? Yeah, it's man, I get these teams mixed up. Joe, who's playing Bakersfield. It's Bakersfield plus
Bakersfield,
3.5,
yes.
4. Yeah, that's what I'm taking. Two ugly dogs in the Big West. That's what I got.
The Thursday night is a special night in college basketball, though, Cam, isn't it? Like, we've done the shows together now a couple of years. I was saying it earlier in the last segment. Like, you can find gold on Thursday nights in college basketball. There's a lot of bad numbers on that board. And, you know, I mean, not St. Mary's laying 28 or 28.5 against Pacific, but I mean, you see Santa Barbara later catching 4.5 against Hawaii. Montana and Portland State. Montana's laying 5.5 on the road at Portland State. Like, there's dogs to be had. There's not too many dogs doing work tonight in the NBA, though. Like, we're looking at these games. Boston's blowing out Miami. The Knicks are blowing out the Nuggets. What about the Lakers tonight against the Bulls? I came on. Taylor was on the first segment. She's got a big prop bet on my guy here, Caruso. And look, is that me, Cam? Look at that graphic. Like,
Dave,
that,
it's amazing.
if I dyed a beard right here, look at this.
Honestly, Dave, you are. I love you, buddy. I love you. You lose a few LBs, Dave. You're Caruso. If you go hit the Jenny Craig Center, you bet on some San Diego Toreros basketball at the Jenny Craig, and then you go hit the gym with your headband.
Let's go.
Caruso time. Yeah, I'll tell you, I love the Bulls. I'm going to take them tonight. Yes, and I also took, guys, Cal Bakersfield. I just found it plus 150 money line. God, I need help.
Ooh,
tennis. We're not done yet. This is me. I'm like a restaurant. Joe, if you want steak, I'm your guy. Dave, you want a nice piece of salmon? I'm here for you. And anything goes.
Staying up late? Are you staying up late watching the tennis?
I tried to stay up, and then I went, and then I was like nodding off, and then I came back downstairs, and my girlfriend's watching game shows from the 1960s on that network. You know, the show with Phyllis Diller and Betty Davis. Oh, it was amazing. And the host has like gold glasses with like their square. Man, I love that. Classic. Is it classic concentration or man? That game rocks. I was like, I had a glass. Yes, Dave. Yes, it's like that, but more not tinted. Like that, but no tint. Yeah. It was unbelievable. My girlfriend knows. She goes, "Oh yeah, that's Betty White's husband." I'm like, okay, whatever. This game's fun. They don't make game shows like that anymore. And then there's another one of guys who are like, they're all stoned and drunk and smoking on set. You know, it was like, it's like the Square, Hollywood Square is old school. The guys lighting up a dart. I'm like, God, I love those times. I was born in the wrong era, man. This era stinks compared to those days. I wanted to rock that.
Exactly.
We should have been there. We should have been there, guys. But tennis, we got Djokovic. We got Sinner. This is coming up at 10:30 Eastern. We got to be on top of this stuff. I'm going to take Sinner plus 3.5 on the games, and I'm going to take a shot with Sinner plus 170 to beat Djokovic. I know this is probably very stupid. Djokovic does not lose, but Sinner doesn't lose. He hasn't lost like a set in this whole tournament. You know, the tall, skinny Italian, and he's a redhead too. Ginger on ginger love, guys. I'm telling you, if Djokovic is going down, it's to this guy. He's very, very dangerous. And in the women's battle, me and Gabe hit both ones last night, and we hit the favorites. Zhang is almost a 4-1 dog, but that game, that's the next day. But watch out for her, too. I've been watching this great Chinese player. All she does, she's climbing the ranks, and she's hot right now. I think that line is way overblown. I would have made the Russian favorite like minus 250, not like minus 500. I think the line's out of whack. That's just my opinion. And I took Zheng on the spread betting plus 5.5. So any combination she can lose. If she loses 6-4, 6-4, I'm a winner. 7-6, 6-3, I'm a winner. Or 7-6, 6-2, I'm still a winner. So I love this. I don't know if you know this, Joe, but for tennis betting, it's kind of like my golf top 20s. I like the spread betting because in case you don't win the match. And I find sometimes when you're the dog, another person will quit. So you could lose the first set like 6-4 and then win the second set like 6-2 and you're golden. You're just sitting there going, okay, because I crushed you in the last set if I have the dog. And a lot of the time the favorites, once they know they're down 2 or 3 games and get broken, they're just like, I'm going to worry about the next set because I'm not going to come back and win this one. So I found it a very effective way to bet tennis is dog with the set spreads.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Is
thought on
Coco
the
still in
Kings?
there, Kim?
No, I didn't want to
Coco-
tell you, Joe. I know you're a fan. I bet against Coco last night, and we won. I took what was it? Sabalenka?
Sabalenka?
Yeah, she's too good.
That's it. Yep.
She's good.
Yes.
I know in America, like,
Ridiculous.
'cause they hate her because she's Russian, and like at the U.S. Open, she kind of got rattled because the political stuff was going on. But now she's in Australia, and those guys are just drinking Fosters and getting gassed. They really don't care about what's happening on, in the Ukraine, right? So they're just like, okay, we just want to see some good tennis, and it's been fantastic. Give me some tennis.
True.
It's
so true.
It is true.
NBA. We talked about the Bulls and the Lakers a little. Explain to me why Sacramento's favored on the road against Golden State. It screams obvious to me that you take Golden State despite the fact that it's back-to-back, but is that the sucker line of the night where you go, oh, give me that, and then Sacramento wins easy? I can't remember the last time, maybe since the Chris Webber days, that Sacramento is going into Golden State favored. It makes no sense.
Well, Dave, I'm a sucker, and we've been doing this stuff a long time. It doesn't matter. We're smarter to be on SportsGrid, and even though we gamble probably more than anybody and break it down more than any other network, I got fooled by this Patrick Roy and Montreal stuff. Hilarious. They come back, they're down 3-0, they tie it up 3-3 and give a goal up with 2 minutes left in the game to lose 4-3. So I used the Patrick Roy angle. I should have been thinking maybe Montreal wants to beat a guy that played for them, but that's the thing. There's always two sides to every story. I'm thinking, wow, Wall wants, they're going to be motivated for him. What about Montreal wanting to kill a legend who used to play for Montreal and show him, hey, we're still going to battle. But I'm on Golden State with you guys. There's no way I could take Sacramento. Just tune into the show with Tommy, our producer. The guy's going to be in orbit. The way that team blows 20-point leads, they go up, they go down. Like being a Sacramento Kings fan must be, it's kind of like being a Buffalo Bills fan. Like it's a roller coaster of, it's a nightmare. And I'll take the Bulls plus the points, Dave. You and Caruso. You and Caruso are we're gonna rock the +5. Right, Joe? Is that what we're on? Bulls?
Are we done, by the way, with the first period in Edmonton? Is there any scoring?
Scoreless,
Dave?
Joe. I don't even want to talk about it.
Scoreless. I told people about this one, and I'll say it for the final time. With Connor Bedard, and trust me, I lose bets. I was on the Islanders tonight, but I've hit almost every total with Chicago. The games go under, like, since this Bedard stuff, 90% of the time. Krakens, the game went over because they scored 5. Other than that, Chicago lost to Vancouver 2-0. Take a look at their last 8 games. It's been nuts. Under. Tonight, 0-0. People think Edmonton are going to win this game like 9-2. Like, I don't know. They might win 1-0, 2-0, 3-0. I don't know. Maybe Chicago gets a goal. Joe, if Chicago wins on the money line, then we'll have a real serious conversation about betting in the new world, because I've seen some pretty crazy stuff this week with San Jose coming back against Jack's Rangers and Buffalo coming back against the Kings. Oh, my God. The Los Angeles Kings are a train wreck. I thought their coach was going to get canned when I woke up this morning. Didn't happen.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No, I'm just telling you right now. The fact that Edmonton has not scored through one period ago, and you were laying $6-7 on a team that can't score in the first. What in the world are we doing here, people? Let's go Blue Jacket. I might have to throw a little more money on it now, Cam, just because you said that. We're going to have to double up here. Let's go.
I don't want to be Mike the Mush, but I'm going to say one thing, man. What about that guy going, hey, I could bet $20,000 on Edmonton to win $3,500. I mean, got problems, bro. This game, these teams win at plus 500.
Still the NHL. It's still the NHL. Cam, good luck, brother. We'll close it out next year on the grid.
Games of the year, Warren, on Sunday night, as the Chiefs are now headed back to a 6th championship game, an extremely fun, clean game, and then the hijinks ensue.
And I thought it was just irresponsible for him to take that deep shot into the end zone. I talked a lot about it on X. I thought that they should have hit that underneath route to Diggs. He was wide open. It would have been easily a first down.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Kyle Shanahan said after the game it was the same shoulder that made Deebo Samuel miss 2 games throughout this regular season in 2023.
Last time it was a scapular fracture. He missed a couple weeks. By video, we don't see that. It was the play that he got hit, had a head check. It's more believed to be a muscle injury. X-rays are proven to be negative. They're saying 50-50 right now.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
This will not end well in Milwaukee. They will flame out. There will be problems, and we will see what happens of who's the next domino to go. Does Giannis just sign an extension, ask out after a year? Do they move on from Dame? Or do they start blowing up some of the other guys, Brook Lopez, Bobby Portis, so on and so forth? It'll be worth watching.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network.
We'll look at the Heisman Trophy
The Early
race
Line.
and what it all means. Individual success.
You should have tried to get something for Anthony Rendon. Not bought at the deadline.
Newswire.
We're getting a lot of news, trades, cuts, and some movement in terms of starting quarterbacks,
Pharrell,
backup quarterbacks.
coast to coast.
I want to watch great players make buckets and win games.
Game time
I have
decisions.
no idea what the heck the Blazers are doing and what they
In-game live.
Just
Prime
took 'em
time.
yard for a grand slam.
In the bottom of the 4th inning in a 12-2 baseball game. We got football scores going on at Wrigley right now.
Sports Rage
That was good
Late
betting.
Night.
We waited for the 1.5. We got paid
We
the
did.
information. Didn't like the 2.5. Jumped on
There's
it.
no taking weeks off in golf betting, ever. These are the best weeks to bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in, and we are ready to close this out here, this edition of InGame Live Primetime. Joe Raineri alongside Dave Sharapan. All right, we are alive and well, Dave, in the Blackhawks Oilers bet.
Yes.
Nothing here at the end of one. We still have a 2-2 Flames Blue Jackets game there at the end of one. We're getting ready for the tip. Lakers, Bulls, your cousin. Your brother from a different mother there, Caruso, getting ready to take the floor against his former team. And Golden State, I'm all over Golden State here. Having a week off and then playing a back-to-back home game is not going to be an issue here for them. I think they build off of last night's win. I think they're playing very emotionally. Tough to overcome if you are Sacramento here, who plays no defense. What are you looking at here for the remainder of the evening?
So the back-to-back thing is so hard. It's always been my blind spot, but Golden State number looks too easy. You never know how team reacts to just a tragic situation. I think they react fine. I think they get the game. I think they win the game. I can't believe the price. Again, the computer picked it. I don't know if that's better, worse, indifferent, but I like Golden State there. Caruso, I mean, it was fate. Taylor picked a prop with Caruso involved, and I came on with the Chicago stuff because I thought I needed to tell you about the Blackhawks thinking them plus 2.5 is live. They might win the game, Joe. It's 0-0 after one. We got a shot to win the game. Plus 2.5, if you could grab that puck line, that got to be good. Columbus Calgary
minus 110, Dave.
That's what I'm
plus
saying.
Plus 2.5 is come on.
That's a good bet. That's an auto play, GPP, general principle play. And Columbus Calgary, I don't think they're even close to being done scoring. 2-2 after one.
I agree.
An in-game 7.5, an in-game 8.5. I think you're good over. Joe, see you later.
Get ready. Cam and Gabe next here on the grid.